There is a switch inside your cells that decides whether you feel powered, sharp, and alive after 50, or drained, foggy, and 10 years older than your real age. Most people have never heard of it. Many doctors never explain it. They run the usual labs, tell you everything looks normal, and then blame your exhaustion on getting older. But age is not the full story. I am your doctor, and I want you to understand something simple. Chronic fatigue after 50 is often not a motivation problem, not a character flaw, and not just bad luck. It is an energy signaling problem, and when this one cellular switch gets stuck in the off position, your body starts acting old fast. The switch is called AMP. Those 4 letters matter more than most people realize. AMP is your body's master energy sensor. It sits inside your cells watching one thing above all else. Do you have enough usable energy, or are you running short? When AMP senses that energy is being used wisely, it triggers a survival response that makes you stronger. It tells your cells to burn stored fuel, improve insulin sensitivity, clean up damaged parts, build healthier mitochondria, and protect the systems that keep you youthful. When AMP stays quiet, the opposite happens. You store more, you burn less, you feel heavier, slower, and more inflamed. Your cells act as if the lights are dimming room by room. That is why 2 people can be the same age on paper and live in completely different bodies. One wakes up ready for the day, the other needs caffeine just to feel half human. One can walk, think, recover, and sleep. The other feels like their battery never charges all the way. The difference is often not willpower. It is whether this cellular switch is being turned on or being smothered by modern habits. And here is what almost nobody tells you. The habits that turn AMP off are normal now. Constant snacking, sitting for hours, eating from sunrise to midnight, spiking blood sugar, then chasing the crash, trying to fix deep fatigue with more sugar, more coffee, and more convenience food. That pattern may feel comforting in the moment, but inside the body it sends the exact wrong signal. It tells your cells that energy is always coming in, so there is no reason to adapt, no reason to repair, no reason to become efficient again. I saw this with a 58-year-old patient who told me he was exhausted before lunch. Every day he had brain fog, heavy legs, and the kind of tiredness that makes small tasks feel bigger than they are. His blood work was called acceptable. He had been told to rest more, but resting was not solving the problem, because his body was not lacking rest alone. It was lacking the right signal. We focused on flipping AMP back on with a few simple daily changes. No extreme cleanse, no miracle pill, no dramatic overhaul. In weeks, his afternoon crash started shrinking. His walks got easier. His waist began to move. His mind felt clearer. The body he thought was fading had not quit on him. It had just stopped receiving the message to make energy better. That is what this script is about. Not hype, not magic, a real biological switch with real effects on how you age, how you burn fuel, and how tired you feel. And I am going to walk you through the 6 strongest natural signals that wake it up after 50. But first, tell me in the comments your age and how long you have felt this tired. I read those comments carefully. Now let us begin with signal number 6, because this one is where many people unknowingly shut their energy switch down every single day. Number 6. Stop feeding the fatigue all day long. AMP turns on when your cells sense that energy has to be managed, not wasted. Grazing from morning until late night keeps that signal weak. Every snack, every sweet drink, every handful grabbed in passing tells your body that fuel is constantly incoming. And when fuel is always incoming, your cells do not have to become efficient. They do not have to reach into storage. They do not have to improve. They get lazy. That is why constant eating can make a tired person even more tired. Not because food is bad, but because the timing never allows the body to switch into repair mode. A simple overnight fasting window begins reversing that. 12 hours is a good start. 14 is even stronger for many adults. Finish dinner earlier. Delay breakfast a little. Give your cells a stretch of time where they are not just processing more incoming calories. That gap is when AMP begins to notice that it is time to mobilize stored energy and clean house. And no, this does not mean starving yourself. It means creating space between meals so your biology can do work it cannot do, while constantly digesting. Many people over 50 feel an improvement in morning clarity and steadier energy just from ending the endless snack cycle. It is simple, it is free, and it tells your cells to stop acting like spoiled children and start acting like survivors again. Number 5. Use the muscles you already have. Muscle contraction is one of the fastest ways to activate AMPK. When your muscles work, they use energy. When they use energy, the switch notices. That is why walking is so much more powerful than most tired adults think. A brisk walk is not just movement, it is a message. It tells your cells, we need energy now, produce it better. This matters even more after meals. A short walk after eating helps your muscles soak up glucose instead of letting it linger in the bloodstream. That means less crash, less storage, and a stronger energy signal. 10 minutes is enough to matter. It does not have to be a gym session. It does not have to be perfect. It just has to happen often enough for your cells to remember what energy demand feels like. Research on exercise and healthy aging consistently shows that movement helps preserve the machinery that makes energy, especially in muscle. That is one reason active older adults often seem biologically younger than sedentary people of the same age. They are repeatedly flipping on the signal that tells the body to adapt instead of decline. If you feel tired, the wrong instinct is often to move less and less. Strategic movement is often what begins pulling you out. Number 4. Let your cells feel a little challenge. Comfort is wonderful in the short term, but your biology was not built to thrive in permanent comfort. AMP responds when your body faces a manageable demand, a faster walk, a hill, a set of stairs, a simple resistance session, a bike ride where your breathing rises for brief periods. These are not punishments. They are instructions to the body. When you give your cells a challenge they can recover from, they do not break down. They rebuild smarter. AMP helps coordinate that response. It pushes the body toward making better use of fuel and supporting the mitochondria that turn oxygen and nutrients into actual energy. Over time, that means more stamina from the same body, more output from the same person. This is where many people get confused. They think fatigue means they should avoid all exertion. But the body often becomes more fragile when it never receives a reason to get stronger. The answer is not crushing workouts that leave you destroyed for days. The answer is regular, recoverable effort. Enough to wake the switch up. Enough to tell your cells that retirement is not the assignment. Number 3. Build strength, because weakness is expensive. Every year after 50, adults who do not train strength tend to lose muscle, and when muscle goes down, energy regulation gets worse, blood sugar control gets worse, physical resilience gets worse, everything costs more, climbing stairs costs more, carrying groceries costs more, recovering from a poor night of sleep costs more. That extra cost is paid in fatigue. Strength training changes that equation. It creates a direct energy demand inside the muscles, which helps activate AMP, and it also gives your body a larger engine to work with. More muscle means a better place to store glucose, better insulin sensitivity, better metabolic flexibility, a body that can switch between fuel sources instead of panicking every time a meal is delayed. You do not need bodybuilding routines. 2 or 3 sessions a week can change a great deal. Sit to stands from a chair, wall push-ups, rows with bands, light dumbbell carries, controlled squats holding a counter. These simple movements tell the body to keep the tissue that protects you from rapid aging. If walking is the spark, strength is the infrastructure. It makes the system more durable. Number 2, do not skip the short bursts. This one surprises people because it is so effective and costs almost nothing. Brief intervals can light up AMP more strongly than steady effort alone. That does not mean dangerous all-out sprints. It means short periods where you work harder than normal, followed by recovery. Fast walking for 30 seconds, then easy walking. Cycling harder for a minute, then backing off. Climbing stairs with purpose, then slowing down. That change in demand tells your cells that the old energy system is not enough. Adapt, build, improve, and that message matters. Exercise research shows that higher effort intervals are especially effective for mitochondrial adaptation, the exact process many tired adults need most. If your energy factories have become sluggish, intervals give them a reason to upgrade. This is why number 2 is so powerful. It does not require expensive equipment. It does not require long workouts. It requires short, intentional moments of effort. Start gently, 1 or 2 bursts in a walk, then 3, then 4. Over time, your breathing recovers faster, your legs feel lighter, and the afternoon drag begins losing its grip. Your cells stop expecting the easiest possible day and start preparing for a stronger one. And now we come to number 1, the signal that amplifies all the others. Number 1, combine meal spacing with movement. This is where the switch really starts to change your life. Fasting alone can activate AMP. Exercise alone can activate AMP. But when you place movement inside a period where insulin is lower and your body is not constantly processing food, the signal becomes much louder. A morning walk before breakfast. A light resistance session before the first meal. A brisk walk late in the afternoon before dinner, instead of collapsing into the couch. These moments create a powerful message inside the body. Use stored fuel, improve efficiency, build better mitochondria, clean up damage, become harder to exhaust. This combination matters because AMP does not work in isolation. When it turns on, it talks to the pathways involved in mitochondrial biogenesis, autophagy, fat burning, insulin sensitivity, and metabolic repair. In plain English, it helps your body act younger at the cellular level. Not because you are pretending to be young, but because your cells are once again receiving the kind of signals they were designed to respond to. And this is where the bigger truth comes in. Chronic fatigue after 50 is often treated like a dead end. People are told to accept it, pace around it, and lower their expectations. But many times, the body is not asking for surrender, it is asking for direction. It is asking for a reason to become efficient again. AMP is one of the clearest ways that reason gets delivered. Now, I want to be honest, this is not a promise that every case of fatigue has one cause. Severe fatigue can come from many problems, and persistent exhaustion deserves proper medical evaluation. But when routine answers do not explain why you feel old before your time, it is worth looking at the energy system itself, because that is where many adults have been silently stuck for years. Here is what happens when AMP stays off for years. Your cells become less willing to burn fat, so you depend more heavily on quick glucose. That creates the pattern of craving, crash, and craving again. Your muscles become less efficient at clearing sugar, so meals leave you sleepier than they should. Your mitochondria receive less pressure to renew themselves, so energy production grows dirtier and less reliable. Cellular cleanup slows, damaged parts linger longer, and inflammation becomes easier to trigger. None of that feels like a dramatic emergency in one day. It feels like a slow leak in vitality. You just notice that everything takes more effort than it used to. That is why stimulants alone rarely solve this kind of fatigue. They can make you feel more awake temporarily while doing very little to improve the underlying energy machinery. More caffeine on top of a silent AMP system is like turning up the radio in a car with an engine problem. It changes the sensation for a while, but it does not repair the mechanism. The goal is not to feel falsely revved up. The goal is to make energy better. And that brings us to an important mistake many adults make after 50. They wait to act until they feel energetic enough to start. But the first wave of energy often comes after the right signals begin, not before. If you wait until motivation is perfect, you stay trapped in the same biology that is keeping you tired. A 10-minute walk when you feel sluggish is often more valuable than a perfect 1-hour workout you never do. An earlier dinner repeated nightly beats a heroic fast you cannot sustain. Small signals count because cells listen to patterns, not speeches. Think of AMP like a thermostat for your energy economy. If life keeps telling it that fuel is always abundant and demand is always low, it settles into a wasteful setting. If life tells it that movement matters, recovery matters, and energy must be used intelligently, it raises efficiency. That is why ordinary actions can produce surprisingly deep changes when you repeat them long enough. So what should you expect if you begin using these signals consistently? In the first week, many people notice fewer random cravings and steadier mornings. In the second and third weeks, walking feels less heavy, and the need to collapse after meals may begin fading. Over the next month or two, stamina often improves in ways first: better concentration, better recovery, better control over appetite, better tolerance for daily stress. Then body composition starts catching up, because a system that burns fuel more effectively almost always manages weight more effectively too. This is also why the switch affects aging, not just fatigue. A body that handles fuel well usually produces less collateral damage while making energy. A body that clears out weaker parts and supports stronger mitochondria tends to age with more resilience. Joints still need care, hormones still matter, sleep still matters. But the energy switch sits underneath all of it, influencing how well those systems perform. If you want a simple rhythm, use this. Eat meals, not constant snacks. Walk after at least one meal every day. Lift or resist your own body weight 2 or 3 times each week. Add a few short bursts of harder effort that you can recover from safely. Sleep on time so tomorrow's effort is possible again. That rhythm is not flashy, but biology respects it. The reason people miss this switch is because it is not dramatic enough for modern marketing. You cannot always feel it turning in real time, but your cells can. They respond when the kitchen closes at night. They respond when your legs move after dinner. They respond when your muscles strain against resistance. They respond when effort briefly rises and your body realizes it needs a stronger engine. Those repeated signals are what bring the system back online. The goal is not to become obsessed. The goal is to send better signals. Stop eating all day. Walk after meals. Train the muscles. Add short bursts. Pair movement with meal spacing. Repeat long enough for your biology to believe you. That is how the switch turns from theory into results. And when it does, the changes rarely begin with some dramatic Hollywood moment. They begin quietly. You wake up a little less heavy. You need less caffeine to feel normal. Your thinking sharpens earlier in the day. Your cravings lose some of their control. Your steps feel more stable. Then one day you notice that the version of you who was always hunting for a chair, a snack, or a nap is no longer running the show. That is the real promise of this cellular switch. It is not fake immortality. It is restored function. It is giving your body the cues that push it toward repair instead of decline. It is reminding your cells that aging does not only happen because the calendar moves. Aging also speeds up when energy signaling goes quiet. So if you have felt drained, foggy, older than your age, and frustrated by normal answers, remember this. Your body may not be broken. Your cellular switch may simply be stuck in the wrong position. Wake up, AMPK, and you give your system a chance to burn cleaner, build stronger, and feel younger from the inside out. That is how one cellular switch can begin ending chronic fatigue and reversing the pace of aging naturally after 50. Not overnight, not by magic, but through daily signals your cells understand immediately. If this helped you, subscribe to Senior Diet Coach and stay with me for the next lesson, because the body can change faster than most people have been told.